Hi players, bonjour from Paris. My name is Asaf and welcome to my channel Easy Board Games. Today, with the cooperation of Ludus Magnus Studio, I'm going to show you how to play the solo version of Divide the Impera that you can find in the expansion White Death. As always, if you learned something new or if you saw something that you like, please consider subscribing to my channel and help me grow this amazing community. Like and comment on the video, let me know if you had any kind of questions. I will be more than happy to help you out, guys. Ready to challenge the Fawns faction as the Automa? Let's go to setup. Alright guys, so when we're playing the solo mode, we're going to play versus an Automa faction that has to be the Fawns faction. So over here you can see that I have laid down the map 3x3 with all the technology tokens, the energy cell tokens, the different outposts, the markets, the supply board with our faction tokens, the candy tokens. Everything is pretty much the same in that sense. So over here I have chosen the Ravagers faction. So even here the setup will be the same. So I've taken the board with the leader, which is Abraham card, the fit tokens, these faction tokens, one energy cell and one technology token. Basically everything is still the same. Now with the Ravagers tokens, we're going to have Masamun drone, which is the one that is affiliated to them. And come on guys, this is pretty sweet, huh? The colored miniature. And in order to decide in which region our drone Masamun is going to start, we're going to take two drone tokens. One of them is our drone Masamun in this case, and the other one is a random one, doesn't matter which one. In this case I took Simon. We're going to give them a good shuffle and then just apply randomly one token to each region. So one over here and then one over here. And when we're going to flip to the other side, we're going to see where we're going to put our drone. So since this is where we have Masamun, we're going to put him right over here. And where we have the other token, we can just discard it and put it back in the box. So here on the other side, we can see that we have the mission board with 8 missions on them. We're going to have here this triangle token that indicates the round number. Right now it's 1. And over here we can see that we have the turn order, and always it's going to be the human player that is going to play first. So this is something that will never change. In terms of the Automa, we're going to have here the Automa board. They're going to receive one energy cell and one technology token. We're going to take all the scrappers, and aside we're going to put Lilith, which is their leader, and also Gaia's idol, which is this miniature right over here. That is not really a drone, but we're going to talk about it in just a few more seconds. We're going to have 3 Den tokens, and we're going to have these tiebreaker tokens, which are basically some tokens with numbers from 1 to 7, and they're going to be shuffled. They're going to help us a little bit later. Also, we're going to have 24 cards of the Automa, which basically look like this, and we're going to give them a good shuffle, and we're going to put them right over here in this place. Later we're going to talk about the other spaces that we have on the Automa board, and we'll explain what to do with them. Then we're going to take Gaia's idol, and we're going to take their leader, which is Lilith, and we're going to put them on the area with the neutral camp. Then we're going to need to randomly choose one of each outposts, and we're going to put one Den token right next to them in the same region. So again, for example, if we're talking about the blue outpost, we're going to take 3 of these tokens. We're going to put one next to each one. So here we have 1, then 2, and then 3. And since 3 is the highest, this is where we're going to put a Den token. And on every Den token that we have like this, we're going to put one scrapper from the Automa faction, just like this. So we're going to repeat this process 2 more times, one for the green outposts and one for the red outposts. So this is how the board should look like before you're starting to play after the setup. And I just want to mention that if, for example, we're going to have 2 outposts from different colors in the same region, it's important that we will not have 2 Den tokens in the same region. And that means that if we would have had a Den token for the red outpost right over here, for the green outpost we would have had to choose between this one and this one. So how does the game work? For us, the human player, the game is going to be exactly like we know from the basic game of Divide the Impera. That means that in each action phase, we're going to execute 2 action cards just like this. Now for the Automa opponent, every time we're going to open a series of cards, and that depends on the difficulty level and on the turn number. In the first turn, just like we can see over here, we're going to open 3 cards, one at a time of course, and every time we're going to execute one of the actions that is depicted on the card from top to bottom. That means that we're trying to do the first action, and if it doesn't go, then the second, and so on until the 4th action. In the super rare case that we cannot execute the 4th action, we're just going to discard the card and then draw another one instead, and we're going to repeat the same procedure. So we're going to have the first card, the second card, and the third card. Then we're going to perform 2 more actions in the second action phase, and then again 1, 2, 3 for the Automa. Then we're going to have 2 actions at the third action phase, and then again 3 actions for the Automa. In the second round, we can see here that we're going to have 1 card more, and that means that every time the Automa player will play, we're going to have 1, 2, 3, 4 cards. That means 4 actions that the Automa player will do for every 2 actions that we're going to perform. So now let's talk about the different actions that the Automa player can take. We have only 4 of those, so let's take the first card again. We're going to see this card right over here. The first action is to raid a card from the market. The second action is collect. The third is to move. And the 4th is to deploy. So let's talk about the first action, which is to raid a card from the market. So first we need to know which market does the Automa going to raid. So here we're going to see that it's the red market because we have here the red sign. Of course it can be the blue or the green. And if we see this colorless icon, that means that we're going to use the black market or the industrial market, which is another thing that we have in the White Death expansion for Divide the Impera. So what does it mean to raid? When we're seeing this action, we're going to look at the rightmost card that we have in that specific market. So that means this one. This card is going to cost 3 technology tokens. So if the Automa player can afford to pay for this card, we're going to pay for the Automa back to the general supply, and we're going to take this card and turn it upside down. That means that the action has been performed and this card has been raided. Since this is not the case, because here we can see that the Automa cannot pay for this card, we're going to continue 1 card to the left. Again, we can see that the Automa cannot afford this card, so again we will go 1 card to the left. Here we can see that this card, this Che Guevara red card, we can afford. That means the Automa can afford it because it costs 1 energy cell and 1 technology token, which is exactly what they have. So the Automa player is going to pay this to the general supply, and this card is going to be flipped to the other side. So we already saw that if the Automa cannot afford the first card, it will go 1 card to the left. And that is also true if the first card, for example, or the second is already been raided, and that means that we obviously cannot do anything with an already raided card. So in any case, we will go 1 card to the left. I just wanted to add that we need to ignore the different requirements of the outpost when we're raiding a card with the Automa faction. The second possible action is to collect. Now the Automa faction will be exactly like a human player, and that means that for the different actions like collect or move, they will need to have a majority. So here we have 3 options. If we have only 1 region that we can collect from, let's say that we did not have this scrapper over here, then this is the only region that the Automa can collect from. This is a no-brainer. They will just take one of these technology resources and they're going to put them on their player mat. The second option is if they have 2 or more regions to collect from. So again, we can see that the Automa has a majority here, and they can collect from both of them. And in this case, they will collect from the region that has the less resources. Obviously, it will be this region right over here, since it has only 1 technology token as opposed to 6 in this region right over here. And the third option is if we have no region that the Automa can collect from, and in this case we're going to skip this action and going to continue to the next one. So if, for example, this was the situation right over here, then in this region they cannot collect because they don't have majority here. Here, for the same reason, they cannot collect, and there are no other regions where they have a majority with these resources. In this case, we're going to skip this action and going to go to the third action on the card. Before we continue to the movement action, we need to understand a very important concept here that is called free unit. This concept will only apply to the Automa faction. Free units are units that can move from one region to an adjacent one, as long as the Automa player does not lose majority in the region they just moved from. So let's take a very simple example in this region right over here. If the Automa player would like to move units from this region to an adjacent one, we need to understand how many units he will be able to do it with. So we can see that if we're going to take only one unit and move it to an adjacent region, they don't lose the majority in this region. And for this reason, this unit will be considered as a free unit. If we would have had here even 2 more units, then all of these 3 units would have been considered as free units. To this rule, we have 2 exceptions. First of all, units in a region with no resources and no outposts are always considered to be free units. So let's take another example with this region right over here. Here we can see that we have 3 of the Automa units and 2 units of the Ravagers faction. Since there are no resources and no outposts in this region, basically the Automa doesn't have a reason to stay in this region. So all of these 3 units will be considered as free units. The second exception is that units in a region where the Automa player does not have a majority, and if there aren't any other free units in other regions, they are also be considered as free units. Let's take another example with a region that we already saw. Right now on the board, we can see that these 2 units that we have over here are not free units, because if they will move to another region, they will lose the majority in their region, and basically they will lose control on regions with either resources or with outposts. Here we can see the exception, because the Automa does not have a majority in this region, and because of that, because we don't have other free units on the board, this unit will be considered as a free unit. So if the Automa will need to go to a region that has an energy cell, this will be the only unit that will be able to do so. On the other hand, if we're going to have these 2 units right over here, then these are the free units that we have right now on the board, right? Because there are no resources and no outposts. So first of all, this unit will not be considered anymore as a free unit as we saw before. So again, if the Automa needs to go to a region with an energy cell, since these 2 units cannot reach a region that contains an energy cell with one move, then the Automa can't perform this action. We will skip it and try to perform the next action on the card. We need to pay attention that while the Automa can use the neutral elevators that we have, or the neutral bridges, obviously they cannot build new bridges or elevators. So in order for them to go from the 0 level to the first level, they need to pay 1 technology token in order to go up. But in order to go down, they don't need to pay anything. So if they need to go from level 0 to level 1 and they don't have a technology token to pay, they will simply not perform this action and will move to the next one. Also, we have 2 special units. We have here Gaia's idol and the faction leader, which is Lilith. Now, both of them will be considered as 1 when we'll need to count when we want to calculate the majority in a region, but they're going to move in a special way. If Lilith occupies the region where the free units group is moving from, then Lilith will move with the free units as a group. On the other hand, if Gaia's idol occupies the same region where the free units group is moving from, then the Gaia's idol will remain with the group that keeps a majority. Gaia's idol will only move if it was in a region with no more resources or outposts. So let's see a few examples. In this region, we can see that we have one scrapper of the Ravagers, and we have 5 units from the Automa faction. So when we want to calculate how many free units we have here, we know that it's going to be 3 free units, since we will need to have 2 here to keep the majority for the Automa. Also, we can see that we have here some resources and an outpost, and that means that Gaia's idol will stay in this region. Since Lilith occupies the region with the units that are going to move, they're going to move all together. So the 2 scrappers that are going to move will be joined by Lilith. If, for another example, we would have had this situation right over here, then Lilith would have been the only unit that would have moved. And for the last example, if we need to move units from this region to another one, then of course Gaia's idol will move with the other units, since we don't have here not resources and not outposts. The last action is the deploy action, and it means that we're going to take one scrapper from the reserve of the Automa, and we're going to deploy it to a certain location on the board. On this card, we can see that we're going to deploy it to a region that has a blue outpost, but also this region contains a den. So in this case, we're going to deploy the scrapper right over here. The other options will be to deploy to a region with a green outpost to a red one, or maybe even with the leader, with Lilith, or with a Gaia's idol. Depends on the icon that we have on the card. If we don't have any more scrappers in the reserve of the Automa, then the Automa player takes a phone scrapper from the region with the greatest number of free units and deploys it into the identified region. After the third action phase of the Automa player, we're going to have a small procedure. The first step in this procedure is that we're going to take the raided market cards that we had over here in the market. So if, for example, we know that this one was already raided, we're going to take this card and we're going to put it in the recycle bin on the Automa player pad. Then we're going to, of course, refill the market with a new card from the supply. The second step is that if the Automa right now is controlling a region that contains an outpost, they're going to destroy this outpost and they're going to take this and going to put it right over here again on the Automa player pad. So let's say, for example, that this is the end of the third action phase, and we see that the Automa is controlling these 2 regions as well that contains the outpost. Then these 2 outposts also will be destroyed, and we're going to put it on the Automa's player pad. The third thing that we're going to do in this procedure is basically taking the den token and put it on another region that contains the same color of the outpost. So here, for example, we had a green outpost. We will need to move this den token either to this region or to this region. And of course, we can use the tie-breaking tokens in order to see to which region it will move. At the end of the game, for us, the human players, we're going to count the supply points as usual, just like we know from the base game of Divide the Impera. And for the Automa faction, it's going to be a little bit different. So first of all the resources that are left are going to be counted as points. Then all the cards that were raided will be counted as supply for the Automa faction. And we're going to take all the outposts that the Automa has destroyed, and we're going to count them as points as well. If we're having one outpost of a certain color, it's going to worth 5 supply points. Then if we have 2 of the same colored outposts, it's going to worth 15 supply points. And if we have 3 outposts, this is going to be worth 30 supply points. So let's see one turn of the solo mode, and hopefully everything will be clearer then. So, since we're the player that is going to start, the first thing that we need to do is to deploy our leader Abraham and 2 of the other scrappers to the neutral camp, and now choose our actions. The first thing that I will do is to recruit 2 other scrappers right over here, and then I will move 2 times. So I'm going to move just like this with Abraham and 2 other scrappers, and with 2 others I will move over here. Since this is the end of the first action phase, we're controlling now the blue outpost right over here, and also we control the green outpost right over here. Now it's the Automa's turn, and we're going to draw the first card and see what we have. So it's just like we had in the example. The first thing that they will do is to try and raid the red market. So we're going to go to the rightmost card on the red market, and we can see that it costs 1 technology token, which is something that they can pay. So they're going to put it back in the supply, and we're going to flip this card upside down, just like this. This action has been completed, so we're going to draw the next card. Here we can see that they will need to try and raid the black market. When we're looking at the black market, we can see that the first card will cost them 2 energy cells, which is something that they don't have. Then 2 energy cells and 1 technology token, obviously they don't have it also. And also they cannot afford to pay for the third card. And that means that we cannot perform the first action that we have over here. We're going to go to the second one. The second one says to collect an energy cell. Since we don't have now a region with the Automa's units that can collect an energy cell, this action cannot be performed, and we're going to go to the next one. The third action says move to a region that has an energy cell. So first of all, we need to see where do we have free units, and we can see that we have 2 free units right over here. I know it's a little bit weird because it's the leader and the Gaia's idol, but it doesn't matter. And also, since they don't have a technology token, there is no possibility for them to move from the ground level to the first level. So also this action cannot be performed, and we're going to continue to the fourth action, which says deploy to a place that you have a DEN token and a red outpost. So it's only going to be here, obviously. So we're going to take another scrapper and we're going to put him right over here. So this card has been completed. Now we're going to draw the third card, which is this one. Here it says try to raid the blue market. When we're looking at the blue market, we can see that they can pay for none of the cards that we have over here. So we're going to go to the next action. Also, it says collect an energy cell, but we already know that they cannot do that. So we're going to continue to the next one, which is move to a region with an energy cell, which is again something that we know they cannot do. And we have here again deploy to a region with the DEN token and a red outpost. So it's something that we already saw. Again, we're going to take a scrapper and put him right over here. That concludes the Automa's first action phase, and we can already see that they control these 2 regions with these 2 outposts. So we're just going to take these 2 cubes and we're going to put it right over here in this section. Now back to our turn, we're going to do the following. First of all, I'm going to use Masamun, the drone, in order to move to this region and collect the 2 energy cells that we have over here. Then I'm going to recruit another scrapper and make the collect action. So I'm going to put the scrapper over here and I'm going to take 2 technology tokens, since if you remember, Abraham's special ability is to collect 2 resources in a region where he is present. That concludes our second action phase, and now going back to the Automa. So the first card that they have is this one, and they will try to raid a card from the red market. They cannot. Again, we have these 2 icons, so we already know that they will not be able to collect or to move to a region that has an energy cell. So we're just going to do the same thing that we did with the red outpost, but with the green one. And that means that we're just going to take a scrapper and put it right over here, since here is where we have the DEN token and the green outpost. Moving to the next card that we have over here, they will try to raid the black market, but they cannot. Now they will try to collect a technology token from one of the regions. Here we can see that they do have a majority and there is a technology token. So what they will do is to take this technology token and put it on their board. Moving to the third card, so here we can see that they will try to raid something from the blue market. So we're going to look at the first card that is going to cost 2 technology tokens. They don't have it. Moving 1 card to the left, 2 energy cells. They don't have it. But moving to the third card, it's going to cost them 1 technology token. This is something that they can pay for. And then this card will be considered as raided. After we finish the Automa second action phase, we're going to continue to our third action phase. Here I would like to first of all recruit 1 scrapper and move. So I'm going to take these 2 scrappers and move over here. And then I would like to again collect and move. So I'm going to take 2 technology tokens right over here, and then move one scrapper to this region, which means that now at the end we're going to control a second blue outpost. Since now we finished the third action phase, we will need to complete a mission on the mission board, so I'm going to choose this one, doesn't matter, right over here, which means that for every energy cell I'm going to receive 2 supplies, so 3 times 2 it's 6, moving this token right over here to the number 6. And basically we finished our turn. Moving to the third action phase of the Automa, let's see what we have over here. So the first thing will be that they will try to raid something from the black market, but we can see they cannot afford anything. The second action is to collect a technology token, but they don't have where to collect it from. Then the third action will be a little bit interesting because they will want to move to a region that has a technology token. So first of all, we need to see which groups will be able to do that. And we see that we have here 3 units, we have here 2, but also here we have 3 units, and also it's going to be 2. And now it's a little bit weird because we have here the leader Lilith and Gaia's idol, but this is one of those rare cases. So basically we don't have here a group that has more free units if this is really equal, and even the regions that they can go to also contain here 3 technology tokens and here 3 technology tokens. So really in this one of the rare cases, we're just going to use a tie-breaking tokens in order to see what's going on. So let's put one over here and one over here. Then we're flipping them. We can see that here we have number 4, which is higher. So this group will be the group that will move. We have here 2 units and they will move to the region that has the more resources. This card now was taken care of, and we're going to move to the second one right over here. So again, they cannot afford anything from the black market. They don't have where to take an energy cell, and they will not be able to move to a place that has an energy cell. And that leaves us only the fourth action, which is to deploy to where we have a green outpost with a den. So again, we're going to take one of these scrappers and put it right over here. And we're going to the third card that we have over here that says raid something from the green market, but again, they cannot do anything. And here they will have collect a technology token. And now we do have a region where they have the majority with the technology tokens. So they will just take one, put it in their playing area, and this card was taken care of. Now that it's the end of the turn, we're going to have here a 3-step procedure for the Automa. So first of all, we're going to take all the raided cards from the different markets, and we're going to put them right over here in the recycle bin of the Automa faction, and we're going to replace these cards with new cards. The second step will be that if they control a region that has an outpost, that outpost will be destroyed. So both of these regions, they are in control, and both of them contain this outpost. So we're going to take these 2 outposts and we're going to put them right over here in this section. And the third step is basically if we had a den token in a region where we used to have an outpost, we're going to take this den token and move it to another region that contained the same outpost on the board. So here, for example, we had a green outpost, so it's either going to go here or here. Again, we can use one of these tiebreaker tokens that we have. So here it's 2 and here it's 6. So this den token will move over here, and we're going to do the same thing with the red outpost. Now for the cleanup, so we're going to take the cards back into our hand. And also these cards that the Automa used, we're going to take, and we're going to reshuffle the whole deck in order to create a new deck for the new turn. And of course, don't forget to move this triangle token to the second turn, just like this, ready for a new action phase.